Mic check one, mic check one, two.
Mic check one, mic check one, two.
You're watching Disney Channel.
Work hard just to get half back. Work hard just to get half back. Get into it that way. I ain't coming through unless the back straight. Work hard just to get half back. Work hard just to get half back.
Good y'all, my name is Don Julio and welcome to my YouTube channel. So I know you see we kind of in a different space right now, I'm currently at work, and if you hear something in the background, just don't pay no attention to that because that's work related. But yeah, so I got some free time. Why don't I go ahead and knock some of these videos out the way? Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you'll be notified each and every time I post a YouTube video. And as you can see in the title, today we're doing We Listen and We Don't Judge.
We listen and we don't judge. Sometimes when you're asleep at night,
I stick my finger up your nose because you don't let me do it while you're awake.
We listen and we don't judge. Sometimes when I feed my dog,
I sit down and eat their food with them on the floor.
Bruh.
We listen and we don't judge. You be making me do your back. I be doing it hard so you can't ask somebody else.
so you don't like doing my baby?
We listen and we don't judge. You know how you get sleep around the same night every time?
Yeah, because I be sleeping.
It's not just because you be sleeping.
I be putting some pills up in your drink so you can go to sleep.
Nah, ain't no listen, because first of all, I don't even have sleeping pills.
The one with the X on it?
The X. Xanax.
Now I know that I'm kind of, a little late with the trend. This was like trendy around December of last year. It's now the end of February, but not too much. My MacBook actually broke in November and I'm just now getting it fixed like 2 weeks ago. We a little late, but we here and you here. You go watch the video anyway. Let's go ahead and get into it. We listen and we don't judge. All right, number one. We listen and we don't judge. I used to be avidly in church. I sung on the choir. I used to be active in the church. I had like a kitchen in the back of the church. And sometimes they would feed us, after service, or they'll feed us before service, or we had like a second service and that's where everybody would go and eat. Sometimes, I'll be back there by myself. Obviously it was a kitchen, so they had a refrigerator back there in the kitchen. There was a lot of different things that you would find inside of the refrigerator. Specifically, they had a box of communion wine. If you know those little cups, yeah, they had those little communion cups. And long story short, I used to steal the cups and take them home and drink them. Don't judge me, I don't know why I did that. Lord forgive me. Don't send me to hell. Those little cups was good. I don't care.
That little juice in that cup was good.
We listen and we don't judge. All right, number two, we listen and we don't judge. When I was little, my mom was married to this guy that I really didn't care for. We're not going to say his name. We might get into some story times later on. But for now, we're just going to talk about this situation. Like I said, I didn't really care for him. And there's different reasons why.
This is one of the reasons.
Him and my mom would periodically go through a separation. They would get into it, and then she would kick him out. And then he'll be gone for a few weeks.
But then they'll be back together.
It was a cycle. This happened thousands of times. I couldn't even count on my fingers how many times it happened. Every time they would break up, I noticed that my game cord would go missing on my game system. At first, it was a Nintendo game system that I had. I can't remember the name, but it was like gray and purple. Every time they would break up and then I would go to play my game, my cord would be missing from my game. Not only the cord would be missing sometimes, there used to be an SD card that you had to insert into some game systems like my PlayStation 2 that I had. When you insert the card, it saves your progress, so you don't got to start over every time you play. You literally just insert it and then you go to the game that you was playing and you can start back from where you left off. Every time they would break up, my game cord would go missing, or either my game card would go missing. At first, I wasn't putting two and two together, but after a while, I was like, okay, something ain't right. One time after they got back together, I think we went over his people's house and I brought my game system. Just like, I wanted to play my game, but it's not working. And he was like,
Oh, I know why it's not working.
and then he go and grab a grocery bag and pulls out a cord and then plugs it into it. And so ever since then, I was like,
Like, okay, this nigga stealing my shit. This nigga stealing my shit every time they break up.
what type of shit is that?
You see why I don't fuck with him? Like, you kind of see why.
Fast forward, at this point, I'm like in 6th grade now. I had a PlayStation 2. You had to have that card to plug into it to save your game progress. Also, the PlayStation 2 had the controllers with the cords that you had to plug into the game system to play with the controller. Nowadays, with the game systems, is wireless. But back then, you had to physically plug it in for it to work. So they go through their normal thing, they break up, and I go to play my game, and my SD card is missing. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I really wanted to finish playing this game, and I didn't want to have to keep starting over. Because, you know, sometimes it take a minute for you to play. Previously, they had broke up. When he came back, he didn't bring my SD card back that specific time, which he didn't know I knew he had it. He would cuss me out when I would leave the game on because I didn't want to start my game over. He'd be like,
Turn it off.
and I'm like,
But I don't want to start over. He was like, I don't care, turn it off.
now I gotta keep starting over every time until I get to the end. Why are you taking my shit? I end up getting another SD card. They break up again. He takes that SD card. I go to play my game. I'm like pissed. I can't remember what game it was, but I was almost at the end of the game. Can't even get back to that point because I don't have the SD card. I'm just like, what the fuck? When he come back, one day I see him playing my game, and that's one thing that would always piss me off too. Whenever I would get a new game, he would go on my shit and beat my shit before I beat it.
Like, can I play my game?
Like, are you serious? After they got back together, when I seen him playing my game, that shit pissed me off. So you know what I did? I went and grabbed some scissors. I went to that controller.
And I snipped the cord.
I didn't snip it all the way off, but I snipped it halfway off to where it wouldn't work no more.
If I can't play my shit, you can't play my shit.
We listen and we don't judge. All right, number 3. We listen and we don't judge. I have some aunts that's 6, 7, 8 years older than me. When I was 10, they're like 17, 18, 19, if that makes sense. I would go and spend the night over my grandpa's house where my aunts stayed at because that was their dad. One of the aunts, she's not really my blood aunt per se. But that's not my business to tell. She basically grew up as a aunt figure in a way, you know what I'm saying, with my other aunts. So I'm just gonna say aunt, you know what I'm saying, in this video. When they wouldn't be there, sometimes I'll be in a room and they had this little like dresser, and the dresser had like cabinets in it. And when I would go in there, it'll be
A cup full of condoms.
full of condoms. I don't know what came over me to make me do this, but I went in there, I took a needle and I poked holes through all the condoms.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Long story short, that aunt that isn't really my blood aunt, but she was living there, she got pregnant with her first child within the next year. Yeah, I don't know what was going through my head. We listen and we don't judge. Number 4, we listen and we don't judge. I used to have this badass little cousin when I was little. She was really fucking spoiled. Anything she wanted, she got. It's a boy cousin that I have. They're around the same age. They're like 4 or 5 months apart. I didn't like how they would do the same thing, but my boy cousin would get in trouble. When the girl cousin did it, she wouldn't get in trouble. I even said something. I was like,
That's not fair. If you're gonna whoop him, you gotta whoop her.
because she was so spoiled.
I didn't fuck with her.
If I'm just being honest, I didn't fuck with her. When I used to be at my grandpa's house, she'd be back there in the bed asleep. So I would go back there while she was sleeping and then run up the hallway while she was asleep. She would wake up crying every time. Oh no, she just pissed me off so bad. Like, but that's my girl now. Like, that's my homie now. We older. She's actually one of my favorite cousins, to be honest. I actually told her about the situation too, and she was like,
Why would you do that?
yeah, we listen and we don't judge. Number 5, we listen and we don't judge. When I was in kindergarten, I had these 2 teachers. It was Miss Morris and Miss Martin. They were kind of older and whatever. Sometimes they both would be there, and sometimes one of them would be there. And I can't remember which one it was. She had like a long skirt on. Older white lady, by the way. We used to sit on the carpet and she would read to us. I was sitting in front of her on the carpet. I'm like looking at her. I'm just like,
Look under her dress.
So I looked under her dress. I don't know what was going through my head. Like, I'm still questioning myself now. Like, why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? You know, we listen and we don't judge. All right, this is the last one. Number 6. I used to have this family member that stayed up the street from my other family member. And I would go to this one family member house some weekends. I'm being very vague with the explanations because I don't want to be too specific And so I would go over and spend the night at the family member house sometimes. I would spend the night at one family member house, and then I would go to the other family member house during the day. I'm doing a story time about me having sleep apnea, and this kind of tells about this a little bit.
When I was little, I used to pee the bed.
But that's a side note. I would go to the other family member house during the day. One day, messed around and spent the night at that family member house. When I woke up the next morning, it was like around 4 or 5 o'clock. I was laying on the couch, so I peed on the couch. I was embarrassed, and so I hurried up and got up, and I went back to my other family member house, and I got in the shower. I changed clothes. I forgot to flip the cushion over. And I came back to that family member house later on that morning. Probably like a few hours later, my family members were woke, and they were watching TV, and they were laying in the same spot that I peed in. And I didn't say nothing. I was just like, we listen and we don't judge. All right, I really appreciate y'all for tuning into this video. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you will be notified each and every time I post a YouTube video. Comment some of your we listen and we don't judges in the comment, and I might react to them, you know. I want to judge you like how you was judging me in this video. All right, I'll see y'all next time.
Take advantage, don't leave my heart damaged. I understand that things go a little bit better when you plan it. Oh, so won't you send me your location and focus on communication? Cause I just need a time and place to come through.